Look at this. 1 day worth of eating these eggs. I have a third of the bag. That's like 800 calories. Yesterday, 1 day. Anyways, that's why I advocate for portion controlling what you eat, because look what happens when I don't. Maybe it's just me. Thank you for coming back to my channel today. Today, let's hop right into it on raise requirements. So I submitted off 2 questions. We will talk about that to support, and I got 2 answers back, and I think you will learn something from it. Even if you think you know most about raise requirements, I think these answers might help you also. I'll also look into the matrix, or we'll take a look at the matrix, what you need to get a raise. And lastly, I'll show you my frenzy results from yesterday. So I'll post up my calendar and a strategy that I'm using now to help with my frenzies. So let's get right into it first. Let's talk about the matrix, number 1. So let me throw up the matrix here for you to take a look at. And this will be a review for some, but I will go into a little bit more detail for you as well to explain the categories. As well, you can see, so I got this back from support, so this is up to date, and you can see my stats. So you can see I've got roughly 1,000 classes taught, and how many peak time periods that I've booked or that I've taught already, as well as my 5 apple percentage. You can see I'm roughly 15% is where I'm at right now in terms of my 5 apple percentage. So I will first say, with this matrix, it depends on how much money you make in terms of how many points you need to get. So for both of them, however, finished classes, you need to hit 1,200. So in both of them, you have to hit that because they are worth 4 points. You have to hit that in order to get your raise. If you don't, no raise for you. Not going to happen. So the first one is if you make $8 or under, which is yours truly here. I make $8. So I have to get 10 out of 12 points. That's what I have to hit. If you make over 8, you have to get all of them. You have to get all 12 points in order to qualify. This is for the 12-month period. So this is looking at your 12-month period for the time period you're looking for your raise. So it's looking at the past 12 months, your last couple contracts. So the first one, no-shows, very straightforward. You're only allowed 2. So 12 months, 2, that's not very many no-shows. I've almost slept through 1 or 2 classes, as I'm sure you have also. It is very easy to go over the 2 no-shows. The next one, cancellation rate, only at 0.6. So just to break that down in terms of numbers, if you taught 1,200 classes, 100 classes a month, that only works out to 7 cancellations for that 12-month period. Now, it doesn't count soft or medium ones, so where you've got medical reasons, that doesn't count, but you're only allowed 7 per 1,200. So just canceling to go to the beach or something might not be the best idea because you might need them later on. Your finished classes, as I mentioned, you have to have that. It is mandatory. You need at least 1,200 classes, or roughly 100 classes per month. Your finished peak time period slots, you have to hit at least 600. So to break that down, 600 comes out to, you need 4, well, there's 4 per day. There's 4 peak time periods per day, and you would have to hit 12 of those. So almost 50% of those taught every day or every week. You need 50% of those, so roughly 2 a day or a little under 2 per day you have to have. And the last category, 5 apple percentage. That's straightforward. You need to hit at least 25%. I'm at 15, so I ain't there yet in terms of the 20 or 25% that you need. And I'll talk to that a little bit more in my questions on what is counted towards that. So without further ado, let's get into my first question. And I had the question of, if I meet the criteria of 10 out of 12 points, am I eligible for a raise at the 6-month mark, which for me is May 31st, or do I have to wait until the 12-month mark? And this is a question as well for the odd contracts. So if you said, well, do I qualify on the odd contracts, like the 3rd or 5th? Do I qualify there? Let's look at their response. They said, base rate adjustment process will happen every 2 contracts. Teachers automatically enter the process every 2nd contract renewal stage. Any teacher may only qualify for a 50-cent base rate increase every 2 contracts if conditions in this document are met. So when you finish your second or fourth contract, then you will enter the base rate adjustment process, and then we'll have data about your pay raise. You are in your first contract. After you finished your second contract, then there will have base pay rate data. So basically, the answer is no raise for you, even if you qualify after 6 months, or if you're looking at on the third or fifth contract, you can't manually send in a ticket to review. You only can qualify on the even contracts. So just keep that in mind that for me, I would actually hit it. I would hit, at least so far anyways, I'm hitting the 10 out of 12 points. I would qualify at 6 months. I would have enough classes taught, enough peak time period slots only in 6 months because I'm doing this full time. I would have enough, but they have said, no, you will not qualify until at least a year point, and then they will review automatically at that point. Okay, now let's go into question number 2. Question number 2 I had, and this is about the 5 apple percentage. I said, does the feedback need to be submitted within 15 days of the class being taught in order for it to count towards you getting a raise? I've heard that all over the place, that it has to be sent within 15 days, and they did not directly answer this, but they gave me a little more detail on what is counted towards in the 5 apple rate, which is the number of total 5 apple ratings out of all as scheduled classes that teacher had in the last 12 months. So to me, that implies that any 5 apple rating that you get, no matter when it was submitted, counts towards it. And if you look at my stats, they gave me my stats and they told me every 5 apple, that is a correct number. That's how many I have, as well as the classes taught. So I think they just do a straight percentage. They don't care when they were submitted. It's just how many you have, how many classes you have taught. Boom, boom. Simple to get that answer. So that's what they came back with. Hopefully that helps and gives a little bit of clarity there for you. Bottom line here is get whatever 5 apple you can get because it will help towards your raise. Now let's go into my schedule. Let me show you my frenzy here next. And before I do that, please do like my video if you do like it. Please bang on that subscribe button. I do videos every few days. Try and get some information, bring it back here to give to you, share what I've seen with other YouTube channels, give credit to them also for what they're giving me. So let's go right into my schedule. So this is my frenzy, straight from hot off the presses here from the last frenzy there last night. And for me, what I was able to do with this one, just to give you some stats here, is I had 74, or I did have 74 slots available for the frenzy. As you can see, I cheese hold, and that's part of my strategy here, which I'll talk about. And so far, I've got roughly 63 slots booked with students. And out of this, I only have 2 new students, which is a big drop off for me. Last week, I had the same 2 new students. This week I've got 2 new students, so I'm just not getting the new students I want to get, but that's sort of par for the course because, as I mentioned in prior videos, there just are a lot of people teaching right now, and it's tougher to get the new students. So a strategy that I'm using, I love now. I used to just bang out 9 or 10 classes in a row, and now I don't do that anymore. What I'm doing now is I will still put out, roughly 10 slots a day, or I will put out 10 slots most days. And then on the Friday and Saturday, of course, you can see I work a couple nights. But on the daytimes, I put out the 10 slots, and what I do is I leave that for the frenzy. And then the morning, I'm up, and then I see what days or what times are getting picked, and I start cheese holing there so I can take a break, and I love having the break. So what I'm doing now is I'm working a half an hour earlier in the mornings, and I'm just taking a break, and I find that so much easier on my body to do that. Even if the breaks, even after a couple classes, anything to break up the day a little bit, I find so much easier. And not only that, it's helping with my scarcity tactic. So when I can start cheese holing in there, then all of a sudden now there's only 1 class maybe available for that day, and it helps. Scarcity is so important to adopt in your schedule. Whatever way you can make things look scarce, or that they are scarce naturally, all the better, because that will help parents book you that much quicker if your schedule is scarce. So hopefully that helps. Please let me know. What are you doing? What's your schedule look like? I know it's tougher out there for sure. Let me know what's going on with you, strategies that you're using, pay stuff that you have questions or things that you've seen that maybe I have not discussed today. Hopefully that helps. Please come back. I do videos every few days and talk about what I'm seeing out there, what's going on. All the best in your teaching this week, and happy Easter.